So I realized that I had to start this video again. So when we say use any method, it's going to be kind of tricky to compare what I'm doing, because I might choose factoring, you might choose the quadratic formula. In general, I always try factoring first because it's so quick. So in a problem like this, I look at the problem, I know that I can factor because -4 and -1 make -5, so I'm going to factor the problem, I'm going to come up with my solutions. In this problem, after I rearrange the order, and I look at the 2 and the 3, which make 6, they don't add to -8 at all, I know I have to use the quadratic formula. So now I have 8 plus or minus the square root of 40 all over 4. I'm going to use my calculator. 8 plus the square root of 40 divided by 4, 3.58. 8 minus the square root of 40 divided by 4, 0.42. So those are my solutions there for letter B. Remember that we told you in class to make that a 0. There's only one x in this problem, so I'm going to solve it using the radicals. Okay, this goes back to something from the front page. Remember to write two different problems. 2.45 equals x plus 4. 2.45 negative equals x plus 4. So x is equal to 1.55 negative, and x is equal to -6.45. So those are my two solutions there. Okay, problem like this, it's already factored, so it's actually very easy to come up with these solutions. I'm just doing them in my head, but again, you could solve them by setting them equal to 0 and solving the problems that way. So now we come to completing the square to change into vertex form, and I know that this is very tricky for some of you. So remember, the first step of completing the square is to group and leave a blank. And then over on the side, -10 divided by 2 is -5. -5 squared plus 25. Okay, and as soon as I add 25 to the one side, I need to remember to add it to the other side. So I'm just going to write y plus 25 equals x minus 5 squared, because I factored it, plus 5 minus 25 minus 25. So y is equal to x minus 5 squared minus 20. That is in vertex form. Okay, over here, similar process. The big difference is that 2 in front of the x squared, and that's where it really gets tricky. I have to pull that out and divide, and that's going to change my 6 into a -3. -3 divided by 2 is -1.5 squared is 2.25. Okay, now I got to remember this is linked to the -2. So I'm not going to add 2.25 over here. -2 times 2.25 is -4.5 is going to be added to the other side. Remember that it is linked to that number out in front of the parentheses. Okay, and I'm going to add 4.5. I'm going to add 4.5. So my final answer, -2 times x minus 1.5 squared minus 10.5. So that is in vertex form. Okay? Alright, complex solutions. That means I'm going to have i's here. Alright? 1x, so I'm going to use my radicals. Divide. So x plus 4 squared equals -1, radical plus minus. So I'm going to remember that the radical -1 is I. Subtract 4. So x is equal to -4 plus or minus I. Over in this problem, quadratic formula. Remember, x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So 16 minus 24 is -8. negative 8 plus, negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 all over 6. Negative 4 plus or minus I radical 8 over 6. Radical 8, I got to use the prisoner method. Bang, bang. So negative 4 plus or minus 2I radical 2 all over 6. And because the 4, the 2, and the 6 all have a factor of 2, I can reduce that. So that would be my final answer for that second problem. Tricky, but we can definitely get there. Okay, find the discriminant, state how many solutions each quadratic has. So the discriminant is just the b squared minus 4ac part. Okay, so negative 1 squared minus 4 times 2 times 3. Okay, that's going to give me negative 23. That's a negative number, so there's none because it's a negative number. Okay, a is 4, b is negative 4, c is 1, b squared minus 4 times a times c, 16 minus 16, it's 0, so there is only one solution. So remember, if your discriminant is 0, it's one solution. If it's negative, there are no solutions. And if it is something positive, there are two solutions.